If I were to tell you that Ritual Beasts were a competitive deck, you'd be like, dang, TheCaliEffect, you talking about the 2014 Ritual Beast? And I'd be like, bruh, I'm talking about the 2014 Ritual Beast. Now, 4 years later, this deck can not only be a viable option, it actually has some things that other decks just can't do. Being able to run some of the most powerful hand traps, and on top of that, make some of the most unbreakable situations is really good. It actually abuses the fact that almost all of its cards are searchable and can completely dominate the top decks. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, go ahead and destroy that subscribe button. But more importantly, you can tag out into that notification bell because we just too strong. Without further ado, I present to you a Ritual Beast deck profile. Okay, so we're going to take a quick overview on the Ritual Beast deck profile. Ritual Beast is a concept. Their attack and defense leave a little bit to be desired. Their strongest monster off the top of my head is 1600 attack, and some of their fusion monsters' attacks are horrendous. Their defense, not really much else to see there. Their defenses aren't great either, but where this deck's true power relies is its consistency, recovery, and of course its power. Its consistency, being able to spam out boards and search out every single card that you need. Its recovery, seeing that, you know, it doesn't matter what your opponent does to your cards, whether they banish it or send it to the graveyard, it can only fuel your combos. And this deck's power, again, is nothing less to be reckoned with. Being able to completely dominate your opponent with your most important trap cards and being able to have access to hand traps is a really good thing. Let's get into the deck profile. We're going to start off with 3 copies of Spiritual Beast Kanahawk. The difference between the Spiritual Beast and the Ritual Beast monsters is basically the Spiritual Beast monsters are the animals, and the Ritual Beast Tamers are the monsters that you need to conduct your fusion summon. I'll explain that a little bit later. Kanahawk's ability is basically a gold sark. You can banish any Ritual Beast card, and 2 turns later you can add it to your hand. You're typically not going to get the add to the hand effect because so many combos that this deck does have. 3 copies of Spiritual Beast Rempengu. Rempengu is a really good card, and its main utility comes from being able to banish monsters from your extra deck that are Spiritual Beasts, as well as send Ritual Beast monsters to your graveyard to tutor for other plays. This is a very big combo based deck. 2 copies of Spiritual Beast Apaleo. This card's pretty tricky good. By banishing a Ritual Beast card from your graveyard, all of your Ritual Beast monsters gain a permanent 500 attack for that turn. Even if you summon new monsters that are Ritual Beasts, those monsters will gain that 500 attack. The best thing is that this card can banish Ritual Beast cards, so it doesn't matter monster, spell, or traps. 1 copy of Spiritual Beast Petalflin. Now this card is really random because it has another name, but by banishing a Ritual Beast card from your hand, you can return a card from the field. It's not that bad. That's it for the Ritual Beast or Spiritual Beast monsters. Keep in mind the Spiritual Beast monsters are also Ritual Beasts because they have Ritual Beast in their name. Next, for the Ritual Beast Tamers, we run Ritual Beast Tamer Elder. This is basically the monster that allows us to get a second summon. Ritual Beast Tamer Elder plus Kanahawk is an amazing play, allowing you to basically get both your trap cards and also have a monster on the board to be able to destroy your opponent's cards. Next is 2 copies of Ritual Beast Tamer Winda. This deck does banish a lot, and basically this card is the next best thing to Elder because you can tutor those banished monsters to your side of the field. Now granted, all of your Ritual Beast monsters, whether Spiritual Beast or Ritual Beast, can only be special summoned once, which does dilute Winda as compared to Elder, but it's still a really good card. 2 copies of Ritual Beast Zephyr Palissa. This card is probably one of the better ones because it's so searchable. I actually decided not to run the search counterpart, and I'll explain to you why, but it's still a pretty good card, being able to tutor your Ritual Beast monsters from your graveyard to your side of the field. Next is Spiritual Beast Tamer Winda, and this is easily one of the best cards in the deck. The reason why it is so good because it is a Spiritual Beast monster and it's a Ritual Beast Tamer, so it's interchangeable between being a Spiritual Beast monster and a Ritual Beast Tamer. Its effect, not that good because it requires the opponent's interaction, but if you use it in the right spots, your opponent is going to be paying for it. And then last copy is, I guess, everybody's waifu, Ritual Beast Tamer Lara. Now, Lara is really good, mainly because she's the exact same thing as Zephyr Palissa, but more importantly, she's another name. Now, these names are really important to the deck because when you special summon them, or when you special summon any of your Ritual Beast monsters or Spiritual Beast monsters, you can only summon them once. So you need as many names as possible. That's going to sum up the Ritual Beast and Spiritual Beast monsters. For the hand traps, we run 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I mean, this card should be practically mandatory in any competitive deck. Being able to negate searches is pivotal. And then next is 3 copies of Psyframe Gear Gamma. When I was talking about the most powerful card in powerful hand trap in Yu-Gi-Oh, I was speaking of Psyframe Gear Gamma, and this deck does it so well because you can banish your Ritual Beast fusion monsters, and then if your opponent activates any effects while in between your monsters being banished, you can chain your Psyframe Gear Gamma. Also, more importantly, you start off with your plays and your opponent starts to try to negate you, just activate that Psyframe Gear Gamma and special summon your appropriate monsters. That's it for the hand traps. Of course, we're going to run the 1 copy of Driver to be special summoned through the Psyframe Gear Gamma play. Next for spells, 2 copies of Gold Sarcophagus. Basically, what this card does is banishes 1 card. It's almost like a Tamer, a Spiritual Beast Kanahawk, but more importantly, it combos so well with Winda to get your combos started. 1 copy of Foolish Burial. This is going to send any Ritual Beast card that you need to your graveyard. That combos well with Lara and Zephyr Palissa. 1 copy of Brain Research Lab. Now, I was going to run Oracle of Zephyr because the Oracle of Zephyr does search the Zephyr Palissa. I didn't think that it was that much necessary, but the Brain Research Lab is pretty good. The ability to gain an additional normal summon of a psychic monster is great. Next is 1 copy of Dimensional Fissure. This card is nasty good, and the reason why I say this is because when you activate this card, your opponent can no longer touch you. Why? Because those hand traps are completely offline. This deck is completely unaffected by Dimensional Barrier. It actually helps the deck being able to banish all of those cards. Next is 1 copy of Ritual Beast Bond. This card is really good when you're going for the OTK. Basically, you banish 2 Ritual Beast monsters you control, you summon any fusion, and you're probably going to summon Ulti Gaia Paleo to go for game. 1 Ritual Beast Return. This card is extremely good because it allows you to tutor other Ritual Beast cards to your side of the field. It's also another OTK Ender card, and on top of that, it allows you to banish cards. It's so important. Lastly is 1 copy of Emergency Teleport. I'm just going to put these 2 down here. 1 copy of Emergency Teleport. This is going to special summon any of your psychic monsters, which all happen to be your Tamers, to your side of the field. This spell lineup is pretty good. I decided not to run the Raigeki or Back Row Disruption because, first of all, I have a lot of disruption in the trap cards I'm going to show you, and the Back Row Disruption, I'm playing against competitive decks, they tend not to play any back row. So that's it for these spells. For the traps, 3 copies of Ritual Beast Steeds. This is the best card of the deck. It is a non-targeting destruction card. So basically, during resolution, it destroys monsters on the field up to the number of Ritual Beast monsters you control. So for example, if you so happen to have the trap card that I'm going to show you next and a fusion Ritual Beast monster, you can activate this card, then tag out your card, then activate your trap. And on resolution, you'll be able to destroy 4 monsters. The most important thing is that this card does not target. More often than not, Spyral players are going to allow you to go first, so you search this card and you completely decimate their ability of making monsters. And then lastly is Ritual Beast Ambush. This card works really well with Steeds, but more importantly, it's a very good recovery card. It allows you to special summon 1 Ritual Beast or Spiritual Beast, whatever, it doesn't matter, to your side of the field from your graveyard or banish. And the fact that it allows you to special summon 2 basically refuels your plays. That is it for the main board at 40 cards. It is 6 traps, 8 spells, 26 monsters. For the extra deck, 2 copies of Ritual Beast Ulti Gaia Paleo with Master Rule 4. This card isn't as easy to go into, but it's still a game ender. Being able to negate your opponent's card effects, 3200 body, but also we also run 2 is because Rempengu can send this to the graveyard to send a psychic monster called Spiritual Beast Tamer Winda to the graveyard. 1 copy of Ritual Beast Kanahawk. I want to say Kamani was actually smart by limiting this card, but at the same sense, it doesn't matter that it's limited. This card is going to get you all of your loops. It is freaking insane how this card works. And then 2 copies of Ritual Beast Ulti Apelio. This card is unaffected when attacking, so you have to be in mind when you activate the effects of Apelio. Even if he does start off as 31 or 36, however you put it, once he attacks, he goes down to 26. But the good side is that he's unaffected by card effects when he attacks. All of these Ritual Beast monsters have the ability to tag out, except for the big guy. Last is 2 copies of Ulti Pedoflin. What he does is it can't be destroyed. So normally when you make a board, you end up with him, and he can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. It's going to be pretty hard. But all of these monsters have the ability to tag out, which basically they return themselves to the extra deck to special summon 2 of your banished. One has to be Ritual Beast Tamer, the other one has to be Spiritual Beast monsters from your banished zone to your side of the field, which allows you to keep doing some nasty things. Now keep in mind, they are quick effects, they're doing either player's turn, and they're really good. So that's it for the fusion monsters. For the Xyz, Diamond Direwolf to clear up that space and get that destruction. The Utopia package, really good. Phantom Knight's Break Sword, just, you know, I had extra deck space and it was disruption. Cyframe Lord Omega for when you do activate Gamma, and you know, you can make Cyframe Lord Omega. 1 copy of Proxy Dragon, 1 copy of Link Spider, and 1 copy of Deco Talker. The Link Spider is actually made quite a bit, mainly because you summon that driver, and you want that driver in the graveyard, you don't want it banished. So you make the Link Spider, and then you continue on with your merry play. So that's basically the extra deck at 15. I'm not even going to tell you the numbers between Fusion, Xyz, Link, and all that other stuff. So for the side deck, 3 copies of Cypher Gear Epsilon. This card is amazing against the Trickstar matchup. What they want to do is set up for that reincarnation, so you go ahead and Epsilon them while they're doing that reincarnation play, and now you can play Yu-Gi-Oh! 3 copies of Twin Twisters. This card is really good at destroying your opponent's back row, and discarding that card isn't really a problem for Ritual Beast. 3 copies of Mind Crush. It's really good against evenly matched. So your opponent enters their battle phase, and then you just flip up Mind Crush and you call evenly matched, because if they go straight to their battle phase, they're gonna evenly match you. 3 copies of Evenly Matched itself. It's because this card is literally a blowout. I mean, you can't not run this card. It's that good. It allows you to simplify your opponent's board so you can build your own. Now, the 1 copy of Macrocosmos, the reason why I didn't main board this card instead of siding is because it's a very slow card. But seeing that Spirals and, you know, some other decks love to go second, I side this card and they're like, you go first. I'm like, all right, set the macro, pass. And then they start to do their thing and I'm like, Macrocosmos. And they're like, ah, this is gonna be an interesting day. And I'm like, yes, it is, my good sir. Yes, it is. And then lastly, 1 copy of Darkhold and 1 copy of Raigeki. Those are extra board clearance for the decks that need that board clearance. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the Cali Effect. It has been awesome to bring you guys a competitive Ritual Beast deck profile. It's one of my favorites. I can actually make a combo tutorial video as well as a how to play. Let's see if we can get to at least 150 likes for the combo tutorial video. I know it sounds like a lot, but the last one got 180 likes and I didn't ask for anything. So let's get to 150 likes. Also, if you guys want to see the how to play series of this deck, see if we can get to 200 likes. I know I'm not kind of asking for a lot, but I know you guys are just too strong. Once again, thank you guys so much. If you want to support the best channel in the world, go ahead and check out my Patreon. I have so many awesome rewards for you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.